Stay put initially. Everyone's first instinct is to run, and that's exactly why you shouldn't. The first 72 hours of any disaster create pure chaos, and running straight into it is basically volunteering to be zombie food, which I will not let you become. While you're panicking about leaving, emergency services are getting completely overwhelmed within an hour. Every road will become a parking lot as hundreds of thousands, if not millions, try to flee simultaneously. Gas stations run dry, fights break out over the last supplies, and violent confrontations spike as society realizes this isn't a drill. Meanwhile, you're sitting at home thinking you need to get out now, when actually, nearly everyone trying to get out now is dying or getting seriously injured. The smart move is counterintuitive. Absolutely nothing. Okay, maybe not nothing. You need to turn off all your lights after sunset to avoid attracting attention from both zombies and desperate neighbors. Stay away from windows and keep curtains drawn because visibility works both ways. Monitor whatever communication channels still work, radio, TV, internet, while the power grid still functions. Keep noise to an absolute minimum because sound travels farther than you think, especially at night when everything else is quiet. Use this precious time to actually plan your next moves while everyone else is out there panicking and dying. Document what you observe outside, zombie movement patterns, which neighbors fled, which houses are already compromised. This intelligence becomes crucial later. The harsh reality is that staying put for those first 72 hours increases your survival chances exponentially. The panicking masses create the chaos that gets them killed. The initial wave of infections spreads fastest among those scrambling for resources. Your boring house suddenly becomes the safest place in town, simply because you're not out there in the meat grinder. But eventually, you'll need to move, which brings us to fortification. Fortify your current location. Your house was designed for comfort, not zombie defense. Time to fix that with whatever you've got lying around, because Home Depot is currently on fire. The ground floor gets priority because zombies can't fly yet. Start barricading all doors and ground-level windows using the heaviest furniture you own. That expensive couch you're still paying off? It's a door barricade now, sorry. The refrigerator becomes a window blockade. Bookcases, dressers, dining tables, everything heavy gets dragged to entry points. But here's the thing people don't realize. One barrier isn't enough. You need layered defenses because the first barrier just slows them down. Stack obstacles to create multiple failure points that buy you time. The weak points everyone forgets about will get you killed. Sliding glass doors are basically zombie welcome mats. They need immediate reinforcement with everything you can stack against them. Basement entrances, pet doors, mail slots, anything that connects inside to outside needs attention. If you have lumber, nail boards across windows and doors. No lumber? Tear apart furniture and use the pieces. Create noise traps by placing cans or bottles near entry points. Primitive but effective early warning systems. Clear sightlines throughout your house so you can see threats coming from any defended position. Most importantly, establish escape routes through upper floors or back entrances because your fortress might become your tomb. The fortification process reveals a brutal truth. Most homes are death traps. You're essentially trying to turn a greenhouse into a bunker using furniture and hope. But at least you're trying, which is more than most people who just hide under their beds praying it goes away. Gather essential supplies. Start with a room-by-room systematic search, because panic makes you miss obvious things. Every closet, cabinet, drawer, and storage area needs investigation. That junk drawer you've been meaning to organize for 3 years? Goldmine of batteries, flashlights, and random useful items. Check the garage, attic, basement, even the kids' rooms. Categorize everything into piles: food, water, medical supplies, tools, clothing, potential weapons, and tradable valuables. This isn't organizing for fun, it's cataloging your survival chances. The critical items people forget will kill you faster than zombies. All medications, both prescription and over-the-counter, become worth more than gold. Those antibiotics from your tooth infection last year? Lifesavers. Birth control, insulin, heart medication, people will literally kill for these. Important documents need protection in waterproof containers because proving your identity might matter if society rebuilds. Cash becomes toilet paper pretty quick, but precious metals might retain value. Batteries and flashlights are obvious, but what about can openers? Matches? Duct tape? That portable radio gathering dust? It's your only news source when the internet dies. The inventory process is when reality hits. You realize you've been living paycheck to paycheck, not just financially, but survival-wise too. Modern life made you soft and dependent, and now you're paying for it, but it's fine. You still have a chance at survival. Secure water sources. Calculate your actual needs. 1 gallon per person daily minimum. Half for drinking, half for cooking, and basic hygiene. Family of 4, that's 28 gallons per week. Sounds manageable until you realize your stored water is 12 bottles of Dasani and whatever's in the coffee maker. Your water heater holds 30-50 gallons of clean water that everyone forgets about. Toilet tanks contain 3-5 gallons of clean water in the tank, not the bowl. Fill every container now while municipal pressure still exists. Bathtubs, sinks, buckets, pots, empty bottles, Ziploc bags, condoms. Seriously, they hold water. Anything that won't leak. Purification becomes your new religion when tap water stops. Boiling works but requires fuel you might not have. Rolling boil for at least 1 minute kills most nasties, but that's 1 minute of smoke signals announcing your location. Solar disinfection using clear plastic bottles takes 6 hours of direct sunlight, great if zombies take weekends off. Chemical treatment using bleach requires 8 drops per gallon, but too much and you're poisoning yourself. Water purification tablets work but expire and run out. Coffee filters, cloth, or improvised sand. Gravel filters remove chunks but not microbes. Every purification method has trade-offs between effectiveness, resources required, and attention drawn. The water crisis escalates faster than people expect, but it's fine since you followed my advice and prepared. Water becomes the resource wars are fought over, making your hidden water stash more valuable than weapons. Stock non-perishable food. Your relationship with food is about to become very different. That organic, locally sourced, artisanal lifestyle? Dead. Welcome to the will this kill me slower than starvation diet. The consumption priority system nobody follows correctly starts with eating perishables first. That expensive cheese, the fresh vegetables, the meat in your fridge. Consume it all within 2-4 days before it becomes hazardous. While power lasts, attack the refrigerated items next. Your freezer stays cold for 24-48 hours if you keep it closed, but everyone panics and keeps checking, ruining everything. Pro tip: a full freezer stays frozen longer. So fill empty spaces with water containers that become ice blocks. Long-term food storage reveals how unprepared everyone really is. Canned proteins like tuna, chicken, and beans become your best friends, high calorie density and years-long shelf life. Carbohydrate staples like rice, pasta, and oatmeal provide energy but need water and cooking fuel you might not have. Preserved vegetables prevent scurvy but taste like sadness. Cooking essentials like salt, oil, and spices make the difference between survival and wanting to die. Calculate 500 calories per person daily, then realize your stockpile provides maybe 500. Implement a rotation system using oldest items first, constantly checking for spoilage, bulging cans, and pest infiltration. The psychological impact of food scarcity breaks people faster than hunger. Starvation doesn't kill you quickly. It's a slow descent into weakness, organ failure, and madness that takes weeks. So you should be fine for a little while. Choose silent weapons. The noise problem with firearms is catastrophic in zombie scenarios. Gunshots travel 1-2 miles easily. Even suppressed weapons are loud as hell despite what movies show you. Each shot announces your exact location, your possession of firearms, and probably that you have supplies worth defending. Ammunition becomes finite and incredibly valuable. Wasting bullets on zombies when you need them for armed humans is stupid. Plus, stress makes most people terrible shots. Silent weapons require a complete mentality shift. Kitchen knives become primary weapons. Large chef's knives for reach, paring knives for close work. Tools transform into weapons, hammers for skull crushing, crowbars for keeping distance, hatchets for chopping, screwdrivers for temple strikes. Sporting goods work if you commit to violence. Other baseball bats need full swings. Golf clubs bend after a few hits. Hockey sticks have reach but break easily. Improvised weapons from household items include sharpened broomsticks as spears, socks filled with batteries as flails, broken glass secured to handles. Maintenance becomes crucial. The reality of melee combat against zombies is terrifying. You need to get within arm's reach of something trying to bite you. The zombie virus in blood means every fight risks infection through cuts or splatter. Silent weapons keep you hidden but require you to become intimately familiar with violence, so maybe just stay away from the zombies if you can. Escape urban areas. Cities are death traps, and everyone knows it, which is exactly why leaving becomes its own special nightmare. Urban dangers multiply exponentially during Outbreak. When infrastructure fails, you lose electricity, water, sewage, and waste management simultaneously. Imagine New York City with no working toilets, ID. The streets become open sewers within days. Food scarcity hits immediately as grocery stores empty in hours and supply trucks stop coming. Building-to-building infections spread through apartments means nowhere is safe. The thin veneer of civilization disappears instantly. Your neighbors become threats competing for the same resources. Cities require massive infrastructure to remain livable, and that infrastructure needs humans to maintain it. Escape planning requires actual strategy, not just running. Map multiple routes, avoiding highways and main roads where traffic creates impassable jams. Those highway on-ramps become parking lots of death. Travel during low visibility hours like dawn or dusk to avoid detection from both zombies and humans. Carry minimal gear that won't slow you down. That 80-pound bug-out bag looks cool online, but try running with it. Bicycles offer the best balance of speed, silence, and maneuverability while not requiring fuel. Establish rally points if separated from group members because cell phones won't work, and getting lost means death. Scout ahead before committing to any route, because that clear street might be a kill zone. Desperate people attacking anyone they think has supplies. Military checkpoints that might shoot you or quarantine you indefinitely. The suburbs aren't much better, just cities with lawns. You need to get genuinely rural, past the last gas station, past the final subdivision, into areas where population density drops below zombie critical mass. Most people don't make it out. They die in traffic jams, at checkpoints, or simply from exhaustion trying to carry too much. Head to rural areas near water. Congratulations on escaping the city. Now you get to discover that nature also wants you dead, just more slowly. Water sources provide multiple survival advantages beyond just drinking. Fresh water means not dying of dehydration, PPS, obviously crucial. Fish, waterfowl, and edible plants grow near water, providing renewable food sources. Rivers and lakes offer transportation routes for quiet canoe or boat travel that doesn't require fuel. Water creates natural barriers that slow zombie movement. SSPSC. Hygiene maintenance for washing clothes and bathing prevents disease, though that seems less important until you get dysentery. Strategic positioning near water requires thinking beyond, pretty lake. Camp 200+ yards from water to avoid other survivors and animals that also need water. That peaceful stream is Grand Central Station for every living thing. Choose elevated ground with good visibility and drainage because flooding is real, and drowning is embarrassing. Ensure multiple escape routes not blocked by water features. Quays, peninsulas become death traps. Consider seasonal changes like flooding, freezing, and drought patterns that completely alter water availability. Assess surrounding resources like farmland for scavenging, forests for hunting and materials, and abandoned structures for supplies. That pristine mountain stream is contaminated upstream by dead animals or zombies. Lake water requires purification just like city water. Fishing requires equipment, knowledge, and patience you probably don't have. Other survivors had the same water source idea, creating conflict zones. Wildlife that seemed harmless in Disney movies becomes competition. HAS. Bears, wolves, and even deer will mess you up. Weather exposure without proper shelter kills faster than zombies. You traded city zombies for country hardships, and neither cares about your survival. Use GPS while available. Your smartphone is about to become a very expensive paperweight, but for a brief shining moment, it's your most valuable survival tool. The technology window is closing fast. Cell towers fail within 24 hours without electricity for backup generators. GPS satellites keep working, but your device battery becomes the limiting factor. Internet services collapse within days as data centers lose power and human maintenance. Radio communications might persist longer through emergency broadcasting, giving you crucial information. This means you have hours, not days, to use technology for survival preparation. Critical GPS tasks before the digital darkness include downloading offline maps of your region, covering 5,100-mile radius. Mark essential locations like hospitals for medical supplies, not treatment, pharmacies, drugs worth more than gold, grocery stores already looted but worth checking, hardware stores, tools and materials, and gun shops, weapons and ammo if not already. Identify all water sources including rivers, lakes, wells, and natural springs. Locate potential shelter sites like government buildings, sturdy construction, schools, multiple rooms and resources, prisons, pre-fortified, and warehouses. Storage and defense potential. Map multiple escape routes from urban areas using back roads and trails that avoid main thoroughfares. Screenshot everything because your phone won't last forever. Alternative navigation preparation becomes essential. Paper maps and compass as primary backup. Yes, actual paper, like your grandparents used. Learn landmark identification for navigating using geographic features like mountains, rivers, and distinctive buildings. Basic star navigation for nighttime travel without technology. MUI. Polaris hasn't moved and won't need batteries. The transition from GPS-dependent to primitive navigation breaks most people. They can't read topographic maps, don't understand magnetic declination, and get lost the moment they leave familiar areas. Establish secure base operations. Finding shelter is easy. Finding shelter that won't become your tomb requires actual thought. which is apparently too much to ask from most survivors. Ideal base characteristics separate good shelters from death traps. Single points of entry that can be easily defended and monitored, DSS. Multiple doors mean multiple problems. But you also need multiple escape routes through windows or roof access, because single exits become fatal bottlenecks. Elevated positions providing visibility of surrounding area let you see threats coming. Proximity to resources within reasonable scavenging distance. HES. Too close attracts competition. Too far means dangerous supply runs. Natural barriers like rivers, cliffs, or dense forest on at least one side reduce defensive requirements. Fortification priorities determine survival duration. Perimeter security starts with repairing and reinforcing existing fences, walls, and barriers using whatever materials you can scavenge. Entry point control requires multiple locking mechanisms and barricades that you can quickly remove if escape becomes necessary. Observation posts need 360-degree visibility, rotating guards if you have people, mirrors and noisemakers if you don't. Early warning systems of tripwires and noisemakers around the perimeter give you crucial seconds to respond. Fallback positions within your base provide last-stand defensive positions if outer defenses fail. Base infrastructure development separates temporary hiding from long-term survival. Water collection and storage systems using rain gutters and barrels become essential when municipal water fails. Waste management through composting toilets and garbage disposal prevents disease. Dying from cholera is embarrassing when zombies exist. Workshop areas for tool storage and weapon. Equipment repair keep you operational. Medical stations in clean, separated areas prevent infection spread. The base that seems perfect on day 1 reveals fatal flaws by day 30. No water access, indefensible approaches, or simply too much maintenance for your group size. Maintain 360-degree awareness. Formation tactics for groups maximize survival through coordinated observation. 2-person teams work with one watching front and sides, while the other covers rear and flanks. 3-person groups form triangles, with each member covering 120-degree sectors. 4 or more create box formations with designated point person, flankers, and rear guard. Communication through hand signals and whisper codes maintains silence while coordinating movement. But this assumes your group isn't just your alcoholic uncle and 2 teenagers who won't look up from their phones. Individual awareness techniques keep solo survivors alive longer. Stop, look, and listen every 50-100 steps to assess surroundings. DC movement attracts predators, both living and dead. Use mirrors and reflections to check corners and blind spots without exposing yourself. Maintain sound discipline by moving quietly and listening for footsteps, breathing, or equipment noise that reveals threats. Avoid strong-smelling soaps, perfumes, or cooking aromas that broadcast your presence for hundreds of yards. Environmental scanning using high ground for distant threat detection becomes habit. Constantly identify potential cover and escape routes as you move. Weather affects everything. Rain masks sound but reduces visibility. Wind carries scent and noise unpredictably. The awareness fatigue nobody talks about destroys survivors. Constant vigilance is mentally exhausting. Your brain isn't designed for permanent threat detection. Stress makes you miss obvious dangers while fixating on imagined ones. Sleep deprivation from trying to maintain watch degrades judgment. Paranoia develops from assuming every sound is a threat. Groups devolve into arguments about who's on watch, while solo survivors go insane from isolation and hypervigilance. The very awareness that keeps you alive slowly drives you crazy. Avoid occupied structures. Warning signs of occupation are everywhere if you actually look. Fresh footprints in dirt or snow around entrances mean recent activity. Disturbed vegetation or cleared pathways leading to buildings indicate regular use. Smoke from chimneys or cooking fires during daylight shows current habitation. Arranged furniture visible through windows suggests someone's maintaining the space. New defensive modifications like fresh barricades, recently boarded windows, or security measures mean someone's actively defending. But desperation makes people ignore obvious signs because they need shelter now. Safe approach protocols prevent deadly surprises. Observe from distance for at least 30 minutes before approaching. Patience keeps you alive. Check for recent activity including vehicle tracks, garbage, human waste, or food scraps. Listen carefully for conversations, movement, coughing, or other human sounds that walls don't fully muffle. Test for responses by throwing small stones to see if anyone investigates. Plan multiple escape routes before entering any potentially occupied area. The moment something feels wrong, leave immediately. Your instincts evolved for a reason. The occupied structure dilemma creates impossible choices. Empty buildings are empty for good reasons. No resources, indefensible, or contaminated. Occupied buildings mean confronting current residents who might be hostile, infected, or both. Clearing a building requires military training you don't have and risks you can't afford. Even empty buildings might have zombies in closets, basements, or upper floors. The negotiation with current occupants usually ends in violence because trust doesn't exist anymore. Your desperate need for shelter makes you take stupid risks that get you killed. Learn hunting and trapping. Trapping beats hunting for multiple reasons. Silent operation doesn't alert zombies or hostile humans to your presence. ID gunshots or dinner bells. Passive food acquisition means traps work while you handle other survival tasks like not dying. Lower energy expenditure compared to chasing animals through woods for hours. Multiple trap deployment increases odds of actually catching something edible. But here's the reality. Most people can't even set a mousetrap properly, let alone construct effective wildlife traps. Effective trap types require actual skill and knowledge. Deadfall traps using heavy rocks or logs, triggered by disturbance work for small game if built correctly. Snare traps with wire or cordage loops placed on game trails near water sources catch rabbits and squirrels. Pit traps with concealed holes and spikes for larger game require massive effort for uncertain reward. Trap placement strategy near water sources, game trails, and food sources like berry bushes increases success rates, but animals are smart, suspicious, and learn to avoid your amateur hour attempts quickly. Food processing and safety becomes your new nightmare. Field dressing immediately after kill prevents spoilage and bacterial growth. Biology. Hope you enjoyed biology class. Cooking thoroughly to 160 degrees F internal temperature eliminates parasites and diseases you've never heard of. Preserving excess meat through smoking, salting, or drying requires knowledge, materials, and time you don't have. Using the entire animal for bones, hide, and organs sounds resourceful until you're elbow deep in deer intestines. Most people can't even clean a fish properly, let alone process a whole deer while zombies could appear any moment. Start growing food. Fast-growing survival crops provide quick nutrition if you live long enough. Radishes ready in 25-30 days offer quick wins if zombies take a month off. Lettuce and leafy greens in 30-45 days provide vitamins to prevent scurvy. Potatoes in 70-90 days deliver high calorie density and storage potential. Beans ready in 50-60 days provide protein and improve soil through nitrogen fixation. But here's the thing. All these timelines assume perfect conditions, proper soil, adequate water, and no zombie interruptions. Long-term sustainable crops require thinking beyond next week. Winter squash stores 6-12 months when properly cured but takes entire growing season. Onions and garlic provide natural preservatives and medicinal properties while storing well. Hazelnuts and other tree crops offer long-term protein and fat but take years to produce. Kale provides cold, hardy nutrition through winter months if zombies respect growing seasons. Urban gardening using containers, buckets, and grow bags works in small spaces but produces tiny yields. The Three Sisters companion planting of corn, beans, and squash maximizes yield but requires knowledge indigenous peoples developed over centuries. The farming reality during apocalypse is brutal. Gardens are massive. Humans live here, signs visible from distance. Protecting crops from animals, insects, disease, and human thieves becomes full-time work. Water requirements during drought mean choosing between drinking and irrigating. Soil depletion happens quickly without proper rotation and composting. One hailstorm, freeze, or zombie horde destroys months of work instantly. Seed saving for future seasons assumes you'll survive to plant again. The romantic idea of sustainable farming dies when you're defending tomato plants with a machete. Build trusted alliances. Essential group roles determine survival probability. Medical personnel who actually know first aid beyond YouTube videos become invaluable. Security specialists with real combat training, not just Call of Duty experience, keep everyone alive. Food production experts who can actually farm, hunt, and preserve food prevent starvation. Technical expertise in mechanics, electronics, and construction maintains critical systems. Leadership that can resolve conflicts without creating new ones holds groups together. But finding these people who are also trustworthy, good luck with that. Group formation strategies prevent deadly mistakes. Start small with 2-3 genuinely trusted individuals before expanding. Everteen your 500 Facebook friends won't save you. Scout potential members from distance before making contact to assess their resources and temperament. Establish probationary periods, testing new members' reliability before sharing critical information. Create clear roles and leadership structure to prevent power struggles. Research suggests optimal long-term communities need 98+ people for genetic diversity, but smaller groups of 3-8 are manageable initially. Most groups fragment from internal conflict long before zombies become the problem. Trust building in apocalypse conditions is nearly impossible. Share resources gradually through small exchanges before committing major supplies. Demonstrate mutual benefit but expect betrayal anyway. Establish communication communication protocols and emergency procedures everyone ignores under stress. Create accountability systems for resource sharing that fall apart when someone's kid is starving. The person you trust most might sell you out for antibiotics. Your survival group becomes a powder keg of suspicion, resentment, and barely contained violence. The zombie apocalypse doesn't create bad people, it reveals them. Establish trade networks. High-value trade commodities determine your economic survival. Medical supplies like antibiotics, painkillers, and bandages are worth more than gold that's now worthless. Ammunition and weapons maintain value, but trading them means arming potential enemies. Fuel and batteries become increasingly precious as supplies dwindle and solar panels break. Food and water purification, including canned goods and tablets, keep people alive. Tools and hardware like knives, rope, and duct tape enable daily survival. But here's the thing, everything valuable makes you a target. Trading safety protocols prevent fatal transactions. Meet in neutral territory, never revealing your base location. Bring armed backup, because solo traders become victims. Start with small transactions, building trust that will inevitably be betrayed. Verify authenticity of goods, HEES. Half the antibiotics are expired or fake. Establish regular schedules that raiders will eventually discover and ambush. Every trade risks your life for marginal gains. Currency alternatives develop when money becomes toilet paper. Skill-based trading offers medical care or repairs for goods, assuming your skills are actually valuable. Information about safe routes or resources has worth until it's outdated or false. Labor agreements mean temporary slavery with extra steps. Barter ratios develop like 1 can of food equals 10 rounds of ammunition until someone with a gun disagrees. The trade network becomes a paranoid dance where everyone's planning to rob everyone else. Your trading partner today is your killer tomorrow. The economy of apocalypse is brutal. Trust enables trade, but trust gets you killed. Reputation matters until someone desperate enough doesn't care. Fair trades don't exist when survival's at stake. The market corrects through violence, not supply and demand. Your trade network is just postponing the moment when someone stronger takes everything. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you watch my video about the places you should never go in an apocalypse. Click it.